This sign is used to prevent a. Entrance to full parking lots, b. Entrance to road construction areas, c. Entrance to dead-end streets, d. Entrances from the wrong direction on one-way streets and expressway ramps, d. Entrances from the wrong direction on one-way streets and expressway ramps. This sign warns that a road has one-way traffic and you must not enter from your current direction. If you have a sudden tire blowout, a. Use the brakes lightly, b. Pump the brakes, c. Apply the brakes firmly. A. Use the brakes lightly. If a tire suddenly goes flat while you are driving, hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the vehicle moving straight. Slow down gradually by taking your foot off the gas pedal and using the brakes lightly. You should increase the distance between your vehicle and the vehicle ahead when you a. Are following a small passenger vehicle, b. Are being tailgated by another driver, c. Are driving more slowly than the posted speed limit, b. Are being tailgated by another driver. When being tailgated, create extra space in front of your vehicle and do not brake suddenly. Slow down gradually or merge into another lane to prevent a collision with the tailgater. If you see an edge line that angles inward on a road, it means a. The speed limit is decreasing, b. The road is narrowing, c. The road is getting wider, d. The speed limit is increasing, b. The road is narrowing. If you see an edge line that angles inward on a road, it means the road ahead is becoming narrower. Be sure to merge safely.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
A solid white line on the right edge of the highway slants in to the left. That shows that a. There is an intersection just ahead, b. You are approaching a construction area, c. You will be required to turn left just ahead, d. The road will get narrower, d. The road will get narrower. A solid line along the side of the road indicates where its edge is, marking the boundary between the travel lane and the shoulder. If the edge line angles toward the center of the road, this means that the road is narrower ahead. If traffic prevents you from crossing all the way across a set of railroad tracks, you may proceed only when a. An approaching train is not moving fast enough to be a danger, b. There is room for your entire vehicle on the other side, c. At least one half of your vehicle can cross the tracks, d. No trains are in sight, b. There is room for your entire vehicle on the other side. You must not, under any circumstances, attempt to cross railroad tracks unless you are certain that your entire vehicle will clear all of the tracks. If other traffic prevents you from going fully across, wait and cross only when there is room. You may cross a single solid white line on the highway a. Whenever you want to, b. If traffic conditions require you to do so, c. Only to turn into a driveway, d. Only to make a U-turn, b. If traffic conditions require you to do so. You may cross a single solid line to pass other vehicles or change lanes, but only if obstructions on the road or in traffic make the lane change necessary. You must yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle that is using its siren and flashing lights by A. Driving as closely to the right edge of the road as possible and stopping. B. Moving into the right lane and driving slowly until it has passed. C. Stopping immediately, even if you are within an intersection. A. Driving as closely to the right edge of the road as possible and stopping. You must yield the right of way to any emergency vehicle that is using its siren and flashing lights. Do this by driving to the right edge of the road and stopping, taking care not to stop in an intersection. You may move again after the emergency vehicle has passed. What happens if you refuse to take a chemical test? A. There is no evidence to find you guilty of drunk driving. B. You cannot be arrested for drunk driving. C. Your license will be taken away. D. None of these choices. C. Your license will be taken away. New York has an implied consent law, which means that by driving in the state, you have given your consent to a chemical test if you are arrested for an alcohol or drug-related violation. If you refuse to take the test, your license will be suspended. If a DMV hearing later confirms that you refused the test, your driver license will be revoked, even if you are found not guilty of the original charge. When approaching an uncontrolled intersection, a driver should A. Maintain their speed and proceed. B. Stop at the intersection, check in all directions, and proceed. C. Yield to all other drivers. D. Be prepared to yield. D. Be prepared to yield. At an intersection where there is no stop sign or traffic signal, you should yield to a vehicle approaching the intersection from the right. However, always be prepared to yield to avoid a crash. Do this by taking your foot off the accelerator, covering the brake, and looking left, right, and left again. Stopping distances and severity of crashes. A. Decrease as vehicle speed increases. B. Are not affected by vehicle speed. C. Increase as vehicle speed increases. C. Increase as vehicle speed increases. Stopping distances are longer and crashes are more severe when traffic travels at higher speeds. If one of your tires blows out as you are driving, you should A. Brake hard immediately. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. C. Maintain your current speed and steer straight. D. Swerve back and forth to alert traffic behind you. B. Try to steer straight while gradually slowing by removing your foot from the gas pedal. If a tire blows out while you are driving, hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the car headed straight down the road. Ease your foot off the gas pedal and do not apply the brakes until you have complete control. When the car is under control, brake gently and pull off the road at the nearest safe location. An orange and red triangular sign on a vehicle always means A. The vehicle has the right of way. B. Slow-moving vehicle. C. Shoulder work ahead. Motorists should be aware that all bicycles used after dark must have A. Reflective handlebar grips. B. A front headlight and a red taillight. C. White reflectors on the front and rear fenders. D. Brake lights. B. A front headlight and a red taillight. A bicycle used at night must have a headlight visible from at least 500 feet ahead and a red taillight visible from at least 300 feet behind. The risk of hydroplaning can be reduced by driving A. Through shallow water. B. More quickly. C. More slowly. D. Through deep water. C. More slowly. Because hydroplaning is caused by driving too quickly in wet conditions, the risk of it happening can be reduced by driving more slowly. Which of the following signs is rectangular? A. School crossing sign. B. Railroad crossing sign. C. Stop sign. D. Speed limit sign. Which of the following are used on some highways to direct drivers into the proper lanes for turning? A. Flashing red lights. B. Flashing yellow lights. C. White lines on the side of the road. D. White arrows in the middle of the lanes. This sign means A. Watch for bicycles. B. Bicycles not allowed. C. Bicycle repair shop ahead. A. Watch for bicycles. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. Warning signs may alert drivers to areas where animals, people, and vehicles are likely to cross traffic. A person's ability to drive can be impaired by A. Alcohol. B. Any medication. C. A. Lack of sleep. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. The ability to drive safely is dependent on the driver being in good physical condition. Driving can be impaired by alcohol, legal and illegal drugs, and being drowsy. Seat belts are most effective when they are worn by A. The person driving the car. B. Passengers when they are on a long drive. C. All occupants of a car being driven on an expressway. D. All occupants of a car every time the car is driven. D. All occupants of a car every time the car is driven. When you drive, make sure each person in your vehicle wears a seat belt. In the event of a crash, a person without a seat belt becomes a flying object and a danger to each person in the vehicle.